Good day everyone, my name is Joy Cyril Maybe Taring and today I'm going to discuss Lesson 3, Intellectual Property Rights on the Development and Use of Digital Materials. But before we continue to our discussion, let us learn first the learning objectives. 1. Identify the examples of intellectual property right in educational setting. 2. Define the copyright laws. And lastly, number 3, cited consequences when copyright laws was violated. Plagiarism Organization reported that a survey of over 63,700 U.S. undergraduate and 9,250 students over the course of 3 years from 2002 to 2005 conducted by Donald Maccabi, Rutgers University revealed the following. 36% of the undergraduates admit to paraphrasing or copying few sentences from internet source without footnoting it. 24% of graduate students self-report doing paraphrasing or copying few sentences from internet source without footnoting it. 38% admit to paraphrasing or copying few sentences from written source without footnoting it. 25% of graduate students self-reporting doing paraphrasing or copying few sentences from written source without footnoting it. 14% of students admit to fabricating or falsifying a bibliography. 7% of graduate students self-report doing fabricating or falsifying a bibliography. 7% self-report copying materials almost word for word from a written source without citation. 4% of graduate students self-report doing almost word for word or for a written source without citation. 7% self-report turning in work done by another, or 3% of graduate students self-report doing the same. 3% report obtaining paper from term paper mill, and 2% of graduate students report doing so. The Josephson Institute of Center of Youth Ethics surveyed 43,000 high school students in public and private schools and found out that one of the 3 high school students admitted that they used the internet to plagiarize an assignment. Intellectual property right. An intellectual property right is a right held by a person or by a company to have exclusive rights over his or her own creation. Intellectual property protection is important in fostering innovation. Without protection of ideas, individuals will not be able to enjoy the full benefits of their invention and they would not be compensated of their creation. This encourages innovation without the fear that a competitor will steal the idea and or take the credit for it. Intellectual property, according to the World Intellectual Property Organization Works, or WIPO, refers to the creation of the mind such as invention, literary and artistic designs and symbols, names and images used in commerce. Internationally, these intellectual properties are protected by the World Intellectual Property Organization, to which the Philippines is one of 191 member states. In our country, we have the Intellectual Property Office of the Philippines, or IFOPHIL, which administers and implements state policies in relation to intellectual property. This office was created through Republic Act 8293. This act defines intellectual property to include copyright and related rights, trademark and service marks, geographic indication, industrial designs, patents, layout designs, topographies of integrated circuits, and protection of undisclosed information. Next is the copyright. Copyright, it refers to the legal right given to the owner of the original work or intellectual property. These works are originally intellectual creation in the literary and artistic domain, protected from the moment of their creation, which include the following. Number one, book, pamphlets, and articles and other writings, periodicals and newspapers, lectures, sermons, addresses, dissertations prepared for oral delivery which are not reduced in writing or other material forms, letters, dramatic or dramatico-musical composition, choreography works, or international in-dance shows, musical composition with or without words. Works of drawing, painting, architecture, sculpture, engraving, lithography, or other works of art, models or designs for work of art. Original ornamental designs or models for articles of manufacture, with whether or not registrable, and industrial design and other works of applied art. Illustration, maps, plans, sketches, charts, three-dimensional works relative to geography, topography, architecture, or science, drawing or plastic works of a scientific or technical character. Photographic works, including works produced by a process analogous to photography or lantern slides. Audiovisual works and cinematographic works and works produced by a process analogous to cinematography or any process for making audiovisual recordings. Pictorial illustrations and advertisements, computer programs, and other literary, scholarly, scientific, and artistic works. So, copyright infringement. It is a work of it is the use of work without permission where the copyright holder has the exclusive right to produce, distribute, display, or perform the projected works or to make derivative works. So, in order for us to avoid copyright infringement, we need to have a proper citation should be used when including them in our output. And that is for my report, and this will be continued by my co-reporter, Miss Obina. Thank you for listening.